Micron, the open and the close. What an interesting story today. That's what we're going to get into this video. We're going to talk about what we saw throughout the day with Micron and why it may tell us a little bit more about the stock and the conviction behind that stock. But before we get started in that, we're going to talk a little bit more about the broad picture we saw today in the market. So guys, the big story today was in the market was a broad market rally. We saw investors move back in as geopolitical and policy fears eased. Volatility came down and buyers stepped in to the market. We saw great performance across a lot of sectors, but we'll take a quick look at the semiconductor sector as well as Mag 7. But before we get started, make sure you give me a like, subscribe to the channel. The big things I want to cover today in this quick video is let's just look at the performance of the semiconductors. Who were the standouts? Let's look at Mag 7, who stood out on today's market, and then let's look at the story of Micron throughout the day, because it's one of the interesting ones I think that occurred of any stock throughout today. So first, let's jump in and let's take a look at the overall NASDAQ, and we can see a lot of green. Great sign. As I mentioned, we started to see buyers jump back in some of these mega cap companies. You can see strong performances across the Mag 7. Microsoft is up over 1.6%. NVIDIA is up 0.83. We saw Apple up almost just over 0.25%. Google up 0.75%. Meta, big day for Meta, up almost 6% on the day. Amazon up 1.3%, and Tesla had a great day to do over 4%. And then we look at in the semiconductor space, some of the big ones that I haven't mentioned is Micron was up over 2%. AMD about just 1.5%. So, and ASML also up 2.5%. But I want to focus a little bit on Micron because it told such an interesting story today. And I don't know if you guys saw it as well. If you did, drop a note in the chat. What did you think of the performance throughout Micron through the day? We talked about it yesterday. We talked about the strong after-hour performance. For me, I thought we would come in and see continued performance and Micron would push over 400 today. It didn't happen. It got close. But in fact, what we saw was even a bit more interesting. So let's jump over and take a look at that. And I can just show you real quickly. If you look on your screen here, you'll see kind of Micron, where they finished. Micron finished at $397.58 on the day, up over $8, about $8.50 on the day, 2% growth. And from where we started, folks, that is a major improvement, because there were some real concerns out of the gate with this stock. I'm going to pull up this just so you can see it. But if you look on your screen here, take a look at that big red candle right at the opening of the day. So as we predicted, Micron started the day strong. It opened up immediately at just over $3.96 a share. But within the first 5 minutes, Micron lost 5% of its stock price. It got down to $3.76 a share. I can see it on the screen where I've set the bottom down there on the bar for you. But the great news is that the stock rallied. It recovered, it rebounded, and it kind of worked its way back through the day. So the stock found support. It stabilized throughout the day. And at the end of the day, it held on to a solid gain, what we said, picking up over $8 a share. You can see just the trend line that I put in, that after that, a major adjustment, that it found support, it rallied back up, and it found its way back up to where we started the market, to where we opened the market. We still didn't get over 400. I'm optimistic that we can do that tomorrow, hopefully, because the demand for this stock is huge. We know the performance is strong there. If you take a look at the quarterly earnings, up over, I think it was a 57% in the last quarter, year-on-year growth. We know that the gross margins are expected to hit 68% in the second quarter, and we know the earnings per share is a target for the year of about $32 a share, just over $32 a share. So the financial performance is strong. The demand is sold out for 26. The fundamentals of this company is strong overall. So what I think we saw today, quite honestly, is a couple factors. I think with Micron, the story throughout the day was this stock has been on a tear. So we know probably up over 200% in the 6 months. And I think at the start of the day, we had such strong sentiment from yesterday, both on the performance we've seen, all the positive news around AI demand. We know the acquisition that Micron just made, the $1.8 billion acquisition of a manufacturing fab in Taiwan, as well as we had some key analyst upgrades at the stock that created such a sell the news moment that I think, frankly, when it opened, we had some profit takers. We had two things that were happening. We had profit takers, and we may have had some algorithmic trading dynamics that were occurring in the market as well. So we know our modern markets right now are dominated by algorithms in general. They react instantly to order flows, to volume spikes, or any imbalances in the market. And often it's difficult for an individual trader or private trader to compete with the algorithms in that we find in the market. But I think that's the biggest piece that would affected Micron today is we had profit takers, and we also had possible some algorithmic trading dynamics were happening in the market. But the beautiful thing is that it rebounded, it found its space, it rose again, and it shows real conviction for this stock. So let me hear your comments. What were your thoughts on Micron's story of the day? The open, the close, frankly, I think was the most interesting story we saw today in the stock market. But let me know what your thoughts were. Drop them in the comments below. Make sure you give me a like and a subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care.